All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Now, I know we're all hurting when we go to the grocery store. We've seen the effects of inflation. But what if you're overpaying for certain items at the grocery store because of some shady business practices? Do you remember when you got like a $25 gift card for bread when there was a bread price fixing scandal in this country? Now imagine if the same thing occurred for meat. Look at how much you spend on meat versus how much you spend on bread. Could have cost Canadians billions and billions of dollars. There's a class action lawsuit being proposed that looks at price fixing of meat at the grocery store. Behind the lawsuit is Joey Zukran. He's an attorney at LPC Avocat. Joey, welcome back to the program.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this proposed class action. Just what exactly are you alleging?
Yeah, so let's take a step back. I heard the intro regarding the bread and the $25. So I just want to confirm and to your listeners that the $25 they received was actually promotional from Loblaws, and it wasn't the compensation we got from the class action that has since been authorized and advancing. Some experts have evaluated the damages at more than $400 a person in that case. So the $25 is obviously far from enough for us. And there was just a mediation actually that took place in Toronto with Loblaws, and that failed. So now we're moving on to the second case, which targets some of the same defendants, Loblaws, Metro, Walmart, and Maple Leaf. And this time it has to do with an email that we found, and that was actually reproduced by the Competition Commissioner in an ITO and about a month ago in the Globe and Mail. And the subject line, first of all, that email is sent by Michael McCain, who was the CEO of Maple Leaf Foods, one of the biggest meat suppliers in Canada, probably the biggest. And the subject line is Paul Del Duca. And that email, who worked, by the way, with pretty much all of these retailers during the class period in the bread class action. And on that email are represent high executives from Metro, Walmart, Canada Bread, and a few other of these. I mentioned Walmart and Maple Leaf Foods. So he's sending this to his competitors. And what he says, and I'm quoting, consistent with the position that he took on the last bread price increase, his point of view, and he goes on. So he's referring to the bread cartel, the bread price fixing scam, and then says they find that this is and I'm quoting again, this is an acceptable strategy, and they are aligned with it even in our meat category. So what we learn from these documents is that they confirm participating in a bread cartel, and they're prepared and likely have already extended it to the meat, certain meat products.
So you feel that this email is the smoking gun?
Well, this is definitely we say in French, a pièce de résistance. I don't know how you can defend against sending an email referencing one cartel and starting a second with meat, but it's not just that email. So the data, and this was reported in the Journal de Montréal last night, the CPI data in Canada, I'm shooting numbers here. I don't have the document in front of me, but let's say that has been, that's at 8 or 9%. The analyst and the expert who actually compiled the increases in meat, and he cites pork, beef, and chicken during the same time, that actually increased by 25 to 35%. So it's inconsistent with actual inflation, inconsistent with CPI data. And in our view, this can only be explained by a secret agreement, which is pretty much identical to what they did and have admitted to bread. So actually in the bread case, Loblaws admitted their guilt. They are the informants, the snitches, who denounced and ratted essentially on all their competitors and received criminal immunity. They did not receive civil immunity. That's why the class action is going on in Quebec and across Canada. And Canada Bread, about a month ago, also admitted their guilt. So there is no doubt that there was, and they paid a record $50 million fine. You may have seen that in the news as well. None of that money was distributed to the public. That's a penalty paid to the state, to the federal government. And the rest is what we're pursuing, or all of it is what we're pursuing in the context of the civil action, the class action. So there's no doubt that a price-fixing an illegal price-fixing arrangement took place with bread, and we are fairly certain that we'll be able to prove the same agreement took place with certain meat categories.
This email dates from March 22nd, 2007. 2007, and reading this email, Joey, and they speak about what was done, the solutions in the fresh bread business, right? The reference there is very interesting here. On timelines here, this email's from 2007. Is this alleged meat price fixing continuing to this day, or is there a time frame that we're looking at?
So very good question. Quick answer is we believe it's going on until today. And remember that the bread class action, the class period as authorized by the Quebec Superior Court in bread, is from 2001 to 2019. So this 2007 email is smack in the middle of that period. And the subject line, I assume you have the email in front of you, Paul Del Duca, is really interesting because when you look at his biography, he's basically bounced around 3 or 4 of these major grocers in Canada and held high-level positions, and he's the subject line of an email that references what we believe is two different price-fixing agreements. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, when the difficult thing about prosecuting a cartel or a price-fixing case is that these companies are not stupid enough to trail their illegal agreements. You can actually go to jail for price fixing under the Competition Act. So here, as you called it a smoking gun. Will we have other smoking guns? Do we have other smoking guns? Are there insiders who come and contact us and provide us with certain pieces of information? These are all questions that we'll present to the court at a future date. Mm-hmm. But at this stage, we believe that we have the goods to get the case certified and proceed to discovery regarding the meat case. The bread case, I think we all agree, is pretty much a certainty. The question is just how much people will get. But the meat case, we're just starting it now.
So at this point in this meat case, do you want to hear from people? Like, do you need more? You need more evidence? Do you need to talk to whistleblowers? Because one email does not make a case, I would imagine. So where are we at right now in where this case is, and how close are you to getting authorized?
So we have whistleblowers come forward in every case. I can't speak to a specific case, but whenever you're dealing with these high-stakes, national cases, you have people that maybe were fired or left on unfavorable terms, and very often. And I really can't go into specifics for reasons I trust you can appreciate. But we believe we have the goods and the evidence to get authorized. The case was just filed and served last week, so we're about a year away from a certification or authorization hearing in Quebec. In Quebec, you would be automatically included if you fall within the definition of the proposed group. So at this stage, it's all persons who would have purchased at least one product included in the meat categories referred to in that email. And eventually, the defendants will have a chance to file evidence, and we'll be able to narrow it down. But we believe that it's going to be really focused on pork, chicken, and beef. And so that would, and you're automatically included in the class in Quebec. There's no steps to take. You can email us if you wish, but there's no sign-up or any requirement to contact us at this stage. You'll automatically be included.
Joey, we'll keep track of this lawsuit. I think everyone who's gone to a grocery store in recent memory is going to want to keep track of this one. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you again.
That is Joey Zukran, attorney at LPC Avocat, behind this class action lawsuit.